Yes, Alok, it is visible.
Okay, thank you. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming in this Saturday morning. I think we can start. Yeah. Aditya, we'll get recordings. Yep. So, I mean, we can start actually, but since a couple of more people are joining, let's wait for a couple of more minutes, and we'll start at 11:05 sharp. So we have 2 minutes to start. Great, guys. So let's start the session. It's 5 minutes past 11. So first of all, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this session, and I'll take you through. Basically, the agenda is how to get into a consulting job. Okay, and I'll try to first give you some context, an overview of consulting career. Then we'll talk about resume, how to create your points, and what should you do to get into kind of shortlisting your resume, and then we'll get into uh, 2 rounds of interview, which is case interviews and partner rounds, which are also sometimes behavioral rounds. So we'll talk about that and how to crack those. So that's the agenda today, and basically the format of it is the session is that if you have any doubt, just put it in the chat, and I'll take breaks in between, or maybe in the end I'll answer your questions. So please keep coming those questions here so that I can answer them. And also, you can discuss some of your queries also at the end of the session. So that's the agenda. Let me take you through the slides. I think you guys should be able to see my slides. So let's start. So crack your consulting job. And what we are going to cover today is, as I said, I'll give you a brief introduction of GoCrackIt. Then I'll give you a context of consulting. What kind of consulting? What are the landscape, salaries, different types of role progression, different types of companies, some examples of hiring processes, and then we'll talk about some specifics of resumes and interviews. So that's the overall agenda of today's session. Okay, so about GoCrackIt. So GoCrackIt actually started long back, around 5 years back, and it is started along with Surita Kulkarni, which is an IIM Ahmedabad 2006-8 graduate, has around 16 years of experience, worked in investment banking, consulting, and she had also written 10 plus case studies which have been published in Harvard, and she herself would have helped more than 1,000 students for mentoring them. Okay, and about me, so I have around 17 years of experience. I actually joined IIM Bangalore, and I did my MBA from there, and I graduated from there, and I joined PricewaterhouseCoopers. And in PricewaterhouseCoopers, actually, I was working in different consulting projects. I was managing or leading a lot of large transformation projects. I worked with very large I would say team. I was managing that team. I was managing the client, which was again a very important and strategic client. So I'll talk about them, right? And on my personal note, basically, I started GoCrackIt along with Surata, because what we have seen that there are a lot of people, including us, who are facing a lot of problems in their career. Either we were not aware of those careers, either we were not knowing how to grow in those careers, or what should we do to really become happy and successful in our careers. So that's the question we wanted to answer, and we started helping people while we were working. And at some point of time, when we had helped a lot of people, then we realized that this is what we really wanted to do. This is what we really love to do. This is what we were enjoying at that time. And at that crucial junction, when I was manager in PwC, and which is principal consultant there, and I was slated to become into a kind of next role, which is associated director. At that time, I need to decide, right, whether do I want to pursue my passion of helping others in their career, or should I become a associate director in PwC and help my clients. And at that juncture, I decided to do helping students. And I'm really happy that I personally would have helped more than 2,000 students and professionals, from a fresher to a 40-year experienced guy, right? And in this process of, I could really understand a lot of patterns, which I will try to share today, some of them. And I'd seen a lot of failures and successes, which gave me so much feedback about my own mentoring and about how people actually really can grow, or how can we actually help them. And now we are trying to really, make it more standardized and make it a process, right? About GoCrackIt is, as I said, a career advisory or career success platform which connects students and mentors, professional mentors, professionals. And till now, we have been incubated and pre-seed funded and supported by IIM Bangalore, NSRCL, and Goldman Sachs. And we were among top 15 among 1,700 startups. Till now, we would have done around 25,000 mentoring hours, and which gave us, with the help of our mentors, so which gave us very good understanding of how we can help others in their career journey. And we have mentors, so it's a mentoring platform. So we have mentors from all sort of professions, including consulting, finance, product management companies, analytics companies, you name it, we would have it, of really marquee companies and these mentors have at least 10 to 15 years of experience. So they do have the insights which they can share. They want to share, they love to share with the student. So that's the background about our company and this thing. And now the agenda of this session is to basically answer your question that how do I get into and grow both? How do I get into and grow in consulting careers? Okay. So let's start with what is consulting, and I'll give you a very quick background, and then we'll go to more specifics of resume and interview also. But generally, the consulting is providing expertise. It's a business of providing expertise. Either you are using that expertise to advise companies or clients, or you are using that expertise to implement something. It could be an operation improvement, it could be a technology implementation, it could be anything. So you are providing expertise. That is one word for consulting. Either you are providing at that advisory level, or you're also helping them in implementing some of the expertise or some of the advice which you would have provided them. So that's the crux of, I would say, consulting, right? And there are some terms which are really commonly used, but I really want to break that, kind of a notion. Really want to say, what is a management consultant and what is a strategy consultant? Okay. So what is the difference? While people use it interchangeably, and it is nothing wrong, but because you are in this session, I thought, let me anyways give you my perspective of what is a management consultant and what is a strategy consultant. So a management consulting is an overarching term. You can say that a management consultant is a consultant which provides expertise or advisory to any CXO or any management, right? While strategy consulting is a part of management consulting, which generally provide only consulting towards strategy, basically creating strategy for future, right? Uh, they are not implementing, they are providing consulting to strategy. Their key stakeholder to which they would be providing consulting from the client side would be a chief strategy officer or a CEO, while a management consulting is an overarching term. So that's the difference you guys should understand. Whenever somebody says management consulting or somebody says strategy consulting, you should be able to understand what it is. So that's a very basic, but so these are the two basic things. Consulting is all about expertise. Either you're advising or implementing or both. And what is the difference between management consulting, so which is an overarching term, and a strategy consulting, which is a term specifically deals with strategy, providing strategic advice to the clients. Now, there are different types of companies in this space. If you see the career landscape itself, there are strategy consultant, there are operation consulting firms, there are technology consulting firm, and there are other functions. Other function could be risk, it could be finance, it could be anything else, right? So this is a kind of an holistic landscape of consulting. And if you, so by the way, all companies, so when I say in strategy consulting, MBB, which is McKinsey, BCG, and Bain, are very well known, doesn't mean that they don't provide consulting in operation or they don't provide consulting in technology, but they're well known for their strategy consulting. Similarly, for technology, maybe TCS and Infosys, technology consulting, they are more known as compared to strategy consulting. But every company is kind of cutting across these horizontals. But if you just to give you a sense of it, this is the kind of landscape you're looking at when you talk about consulting. So there are strategy consulting, there is operation consulting, there is technology consulting, and there are other functional consulting. What is a strategy consulting? As I said, is basically these are the strategy consulting firm which provide CXOs, the advice for strategic direction of the client, of the organization. So it could be how do I grow my business, or how do I enter African market, let's say, or how do I reduce my cost, or all those kind of things. This is strategy consulting, where they are provided advice, but they are usually not implementing it. They are just providing advice. This is what our recommendation is, and now you can take it forward from there. So that's the strategy consulting. And there are different aspects of this. What are the salary range and what are the scope of work? You can see here. At the same time, operations consulting, where a lot of other companies like A.T. Kearney is really known for their operation consulting, or let's say there are some boutique consulting firm like Vector Consulting or Renoy Consulting. They are more known for operation consulting. Basically, they are creating your consulting to either design the operation or supply chain, or improve the operation or supply chain, or anything which relates to operations. And sometimes it's providing operation design or operation strategy along with implementation also. So that's the role of operation consulting. Technology consulting, as the name suggests, you would be providing consulting for technological aspect of the companies. Either you're helping them in choosing some technology or some technological product. Let's say you want to digitally transform your organization. What should you do? So that kind of a thing. Or you are, let's say, evaluating whether I buy SAP or Oracle, that kind of stuff. Or you are actually implementing SAP or any other product, and these technology consulting firms are helping you in either providing strategy, which technology, which product, or implementing, how do I implement SAP or Oracle. So those kind of strategy and implementation around technology, some of these firms are providing. Again, Big Fours are across. Okay, I've just given one example that Big Four do provide technology consulting services as well. And then there are other function-focused consulting practices of these companies. It could be a finance practice, it could be a risk practice, it could be a HR practice, it could be a marketing practice. So it is basically there are functional side of it, right, where expertise, where practices provide organizations different functions to improve. It could be HR, marketing, sales, anything, right? So that's the landscape you are looking at careers, right? So that's the career landscape. And if you see some examples, let's say this is a McKinsey. If you see one, how they are structured, if you see they have industries and they have capabilities. So in industry, if you see they have almost all sort of industries, education, consumer. So they have practices which are expertised, uh, different practices which are expertise in this industry. So that is the kind of one structure they have. And again, they have another structure which is capabilities, which is, let's say, digital, which is kind of horizontal practice, which cuts across all the industries and all the companies. It could be growth, marketing, and sales, which are again functions, which again cuts across. So these are the capabilities which they can use people in HR, or basically HR, right? Or risk. These are some of the functional consulting which I was talking about. This cuts across all the industries. So they have industry, so they have structured themselves either in terms of industries or in terms of functions, which cuts across all these industries. And how's the role evolution? How does a role evolve in consulting firm, right? So basically, uh, let's say at graduation level, when you are, let's say, doing your BCom or Bachelor of Engineering or BTech or something like that, you usually would join at analyst or senior analyst role, where your role, as the name suggests, is data analysis, fact analysis, creating report, creating Excels, creating models, and analyze them. Then you move up to consultant. Generally, here your MBAs either here or here, and depending upon their experiences, they would join. Generally, here they would join. Some MBA can join here also. So it's a bit interchangeable here. But then you become consultant. Then when a consultant may be kind of a senior, I mean, senior to analyst, then you become senior consultant, and then you become principal consultant or manager or lead. So different companies have different names. And then you become associate director or director, and then you become partner. Partner is the head of that practice. And till senior consultant, you would be doing more of a problem solving, consulting, analysis kind of role. At principal, this is the person, principal consultant is the person who manages engagement. He manages consulting engagement. He's a project manager. He's an engagement manager. His responsibility is to manage these guys, manage deliveries, manage clients, manage other project aspects. While from the associate director or director level, it becomes more one program management. Like these guys would be managing multiple projects on a very macro level, but their major responsibility also is to grow, is to sell, is to support partner to sell more in the consulting in to the clients. And then partner is an ultimate, I would say, salesperson. He's the CEO of that particular vertical or that practice, as they call it. And this person is actually the person who owns everything of that practice. Okay, and then there are senior partners and all those things also in any consulting firm. Okay, so that's the kind of role you are looking at. See, this is the kind of role evolution of one of the person. So he started at associate, then engagement. Associate could be related to consultant here. Okay, associate engagement manager, as I said, it's a principal consultant here, something like this. And partner, and so they have different designations. Okay, this is of BCG, where you started as, this person has started as senior associate, then consultant, and project leader. Again, project leader is nothing but engagement manager, you can say, or a principal consultant. And then principal is kind of associate director or director, and then partner. Then you become a partner, right? And this person, see, in 8 years, this person become from senior associate to partner. So there's a lot of growth if you do well, right? Every 2 years you're getting this thing, and you become partner at a very early stage. So if you join BCG at, let's say, out of IIT or NIT or any engineering college, maybe you will take 10 years if you're doing good to become a partner. And this person, I think he joined from MBA, so he could become partner in 8 years. So cool. And I think this person took around 10 years to become the partner. So it depends from where you're joining and how is your role evolution. But ultimately, it's a very faster way to partner. You can become in a very quick manner. So that's the kind of landscape which I was talking about. And now we'll get into how to get into consulting roles and all that. But let me see if there are some questions, or is it making sense? Yes, no, or I mean, do you want something else also to be covered here, or is it making sense till now? Can you say yes, no, something in the chat bot so that I understand that I'm not talking to a wall, but actually I'm trying to help others. Awesome, awesome. So please let me know if there is something. Preeti, keep a track of chat also, so that if there is anything people want more, then I can cover that also.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
Alok.
yes,
Sure.
yes. So these slides and everything will be shared. Yes, this recording, slides, everything will be shared. Don't worry. Right. So this is the context. This is the context of consulting. Quickly recapping it, consulting means providing expertise, either advising or implementing. There are different types of consulting firms. Strategy. There are different terms. Management consulting, which is an overarching term, and strategy consulting, which is a part of management consulting, which generally deals with a strategic advice to the clients. Then there are different types of consulting firms: strategy consulting, operation consulting, technology consulting, and others. And then we also saw the role evolution, which generally start at analyst or senior analyst, then you become consultant, then senior consultant, then principal consultant, then associate director, or a partner, which is the ultimate authority or of a practice, which leads the practice. So now let me start with a small case study of how I actually helped one of the lady, to get into a really good strategy consulting firm. She did not have so this happens like this. So she called me, right, and said she wanted help and she wanted to move to a really MBB kind of stuff. Right. So I just tried to check her background, and she was working in a pre-sales role. So pre-sales roles is basically a role where you're helping sales team to sell your IT services. She was working in IT services firm, right? So she came to me and she said, I'm not getting any shortlist. I'm trying so much. I wanted to get into consulting, and that too in a strategy consulting, but I'm not getting any shortlist. It's around 3 months, 4 months, right? And I tried to understand her profile, and she was working in pre-sales. Then I said something that, to actually become, and I tried to ask what kind of roles, what kind of work she's doing and all that. So she's working on PPTs, RFPs, RFIs, and all those things. So she was creating PPT to pitch to clients. She was creating maybe demos to pitch to clients. Then I advise her ki, maybe because your resume doesn't have that spike, and I'll talk about it in a later slide, ki what is a spike. But I think I saw her resume also, and I saw that there's no spike in her resume, and it was very difficult to cut through a consulting this thing. Then I told her that, immediately you may or may not get a shortlist, but you should work for a couple of months on something and bring it in your resume. That will give you a spike. Then she asked me what. So I said, ki now every consulting firm is a thought leader. They want to help client in a futuristic things. Some of the futuristic things right now, what is happening is artificial intelligence, ML, data analytics, cloud, all those things. Why don't you involve yourself in some of the projects or some of the initiatives which are happening in your organization? You get an example, you get a very good learning also, you'll get an exposure also, and that also you can drive, put it in your resume also. So she in fact did. She actually worked with an initiative of that organization which was working of creating an artificial intelligence capability center, right? So she got herself involved. She worked on it. She created whatever she has to do to make it successful. And they kind of, the organization, and with this person's initiative, they could actually establish that AI center of excellence or capability center, right? And then she wrote this in her resume. And then again she started applying, and not that she started applying, but she also started applying through referrals also, because referral is a very good way to. So this is the second change she has done in her job strategy. That one, she has brought down very impactful points, very relevant points, and the spike. Second, she started not just relying on maybe LinkedIn or Naukri, but she also started applying through her referrals. And then she got a call from a very big strategy consulting firm. I would not name it. And she got the interview. She get into the interview. I helped her in the interview how to crack. What kind of questions can be asked? And we knew from the starting that there will be a lot of questions around that AI capability center. So we really focused on that, right? And once there are 2-3 rounds and everything happened, and then she not only got the job, but also she got that remark from the interviewer that you're really, really good about your your subject, and we are really interested to take you in, and specifically the work which you have done in AI Capability Center. That's really remarkable. We really love to work with you, and that's how she get into that role. So what I'm trying to say is that maybe you need to think differently. Maybe you need to see your profile differently, and you need to create that spike in your resume which can make you shortlisted. So now let's talk about, hence, given that context, given this story in the background, keeping that story in the background, we need to see what kind of things consulting recruiters, consulting companies want to see in your resume. So now we are getting into a resume shortlisting phenomena, or the aspect of the work where we will be talking about how do you get shortlisted. First of all, first hurdle is shortlisting. How do you get shortlisted for a consulting role? So let me ask you guys, what do you think? What do you think consulting firms, and you can put it in the chat, okay? What do you think consulting companies look at in your resume and shortlist you, because of which they shortlist you? What are some of the things which you should put in your resume which will help you to get shortlisted? Can you put it in the chat box? What do you think? Anything? Skills to interpret data well in comparison. Very good. This is a very good skill. Analytical skills or data interpretation skills, or data skills or analytic skills. Relevant experience, sometimes yes, sometimes not required. Leadership skills, visualization, communication skills, but how do you show it in your resume, right? But yes, that's very important. Quantified points, very good. Projects, people skills, right? So there are so many things, and if you see, all these skills, right, are actually relevant for all the jobs. Most of these skills. So what does a consulting company see in your resume? That's what we need to understand. If you see all these options or all the examples, you see that most of these things, any company would require. Relevant experience they would require, leadership required, skills they would require, communication skills they would require, quantified. Lot of companies want quantified points in their resume. But how a consulting company, when they see your resume, how do they distinguish? They actually say, okay, this resume is for consulting, right? We have to understand that. Okay. So practical experience is important. Experience is important if you have, but consulting companies do hire a lot of freshers or people with less experience, because they really want to hire bright people, irrespective of whether you have work experience, because consulting is a diverse industry, right? You might be working in a operation today, you might be working in HR today, you might be working in a maybe power industry. Tomorrow you will be working in a, let's say, FMCG industry, right? And even in, let's say you are working in one vertical, one industry domain. In that also, let's say you are working in automotive. Today you are working with, let's say, commercial vehicle type of companies like Ashok Leyland or Tata Motors, or sometimes you're working with, let's say, the company which, let's say, Maruti, which is working on passenger cars, right? So there are a lot of diversity. So experience are important, definitely, but more important to that also are these three things. How do you get your resume shortlisted? So I'm trying to unlock that. There are three things which are very important for you to showcase in your resume, which consulting companies really, really value, and they do shortlist. One is spikes. Second is your leadership and teamwork skills. I'll tell you all about these. What are these? And third is entrepreneurial drive. So let's talk about spikes. What are spikes? Can somebody put in the chat? What is spike? What do you mean by spikes? Promotions. Kiran Sai has said promotions. Okay, that is one. What else? What are spikes in your resume? So consulting companies look for spikes in your resume. Academic achievement, right? Awards, big client. Very good, excellent. If you put together all these points, it becomes spikes. So let me define it first. Spike is something extra, is something in your resume which differentiate you from others. Spike is something which is really, really good in your resume, really impactful in your resume. It could be either professional, it could be either personal, it could be either academic. Your professional achievements, your academic achievements, your personal achievements, your professional achievements. So the examples of professional achievements could be that you have got back-to-back promotions, you have got early promotions, you have got client, really recognitions, you have got multiple awards, or you worked in a really large project and you really made it happen, right? So that's the kind of thing you are looking at in the professional achievement. What are the academic achievement, right? You got scholarship, you got first, or you are a ranker in your university or in your studies, or you got really get cracking in some of the exams, have get good ranks in some of these exams. So that are the academic achievements or academic spikes. And the personal spikes is, let's say one of my student was gold medalist in judo in international judo competitions, or one of the student had written a book which he had put it, or one of the student or a professional, so I'd say everyone is student, one of the professionals had been working in an NGO. He or she actually established an NGO. These are the personal spikes, right? So first and very important aspect is whether you have domain experience or not, whether you have industry experience or not, whether you are a fresher. First thing you need to bring out that, you need to bring out your spikes. Now, in the example of that lady which I told you, what do you think was a spike? What was spike? Which she created in her job? So I gave you an example of a lady, right? So what was the spike in her profile? So while she was doing a pre-sales role, parallelly she worked on a project which established an AI capability center. That was the spike in her resume, right? That really got interested a lot of recruiters, and ultimately she got a job to a consulting firm, right? So you need to first think about, when 100 resumes are being seen, how my resume is really differentiated, how I can bring out all my good points or the spikes in a most legible manner to the recruiter or to the consulting recruiter, so that I can get shortlisted. So that is the one important thing which you need to distinct. Quantify your numbers, show tangible results, or anything, or show your initiatives. Those things are spikes. So that is the first point. Any doubt on spike? If you have any doubt on spike, just put it in chat and I will clarify, because this is the most important point. Hence, I am waiting here. Please ask me any question if you have regarding the spike. Any questions regarding spike? Cool. So I think those spikes are three, right? As I said, professional spikes, academic spikes, and personal spikes. And I gave you examples also. And we'll see some example of how to write points and all those things. So that is first point, spikes. Second is leadership and teamwork. Very, very, very important. Because see what happens, consulting firms, biggest consulting team would be 4 to 5 or 6 student, professional or consultant, right? And in that role, you have to either lead a team, or you have to lead your clients actually to help them create or solve the problem or create impact. So you need to lead a lot of stakeholders. You need to lead sometimes teams. You need to lead your clients itself. And that skills is very important to showcase in your resume. How do you showcase leadership and teamwork skills in your resume? What are the examples of showcasing leadership skills or team skills, working with team skills in the resume? How can you showcase that? Can somebody put it in the chat? How do you showcase leadership skill in your resume? That's the question. Right. So leadership skills can be shown irrespective of whether you have led a team. If you have led a team, great, showcase that. Nothing like it. But leadership skills can be shown in other ways also. And some of the ways are, I'll talk about it, but basically you have managed multiple stakeholders, or you have taken multiple initiatives, or those kind of things, right? Or you are chosen for a leadership pipeline role in your organization, or you are selected for some project. Those are some of the skills which showcase your leadership skills. So first was spike, second is leadership and teamwork skills, and third is entrepreneurial drive. That is very important. And as I said, that in a consulting role, it's very lean team, right? Your team is maybe 4 to 5 people you're working in, right? And lot of initiatives you have to take, and a lot of out of the box thinking you need to do. Lot of innovation you have to do on your own. Nobody is telling you what to do, but you have to do to solve a problem, right? And that if you've done as a part of in your that, if you can showcase some of the innovation you have done, if you can showcase some of the innovative initiative you have taken, right, you should showcase that in your resume. These are the three things which actually help you get shortlisted, irrespective of whether you have industry or domain expertise or not. Industry and domain expertise are important if you have, let's say, 5 years or 6 years of experience. Then try to showcase your spikes, leadership and teamwork and entrepreneurial drive with some of the examples from your domain. That's a good idea. If you've worked in banking, showcase some banking example. Use a lot of banking keywords also if you're applying to a banking practice of a consulting firm, right? So that's the thing you need to showcase. Now let me give you some examples, okay, which you need to showcase. So so let me give you first my example, right? So why I got shortlisted in PwC, right? So there are only 2 lines actually, I would say, which kind of got me, which a recruiter got interested, because of which a recruiter got interested in my profile. One was, at least in my case, I have one spike on academics. I had very good academics. And second, in one of the line in my resume was talking about a very important project, a digital project which I worked in my company, in my earlier company. And because of these 2 lines, one of my academic and one of my this project, I got a shortlist. So if you have your resume maybe 100 points or 60 or 50 points, you should understand there are only 2, 3 or 4 points which is important for you, not more than 10 points, never 10 points, never 5 points also. Maybe 2, 3 points itself can give you a shortlist. You need to think about, given this framework, like what are these things? What are these things I am showcasing in my resume in those 3 to 4 points? That's the most important thing. You don't have to think I need to have 100 points to get a shortlist. You need to think how I can showcase these points as crispy as possible in 4 to 5 points. And other points are kind of supporting them then. Like, other points are kind of giving more information to the recruiter apart from these 3 things, which is perfectly okay, right? So that's what you guys should be focusing on. Let me give you some examples of spikes. For example, this person has written that I consistently rated as a star performer of the company. He could have written consistently rated for 5 years as star performer, or awarded by a big personality. It was actually chief minister of that state for securing maybe XYZ rank in the university, and one of the top academic performer in my MBA school as well. So this is the professional spike, and this is the academic spikes which this person leveraged and got shortlisted. This person also used his work experience apart from gold medal for academic excellence, and he written that I worked in operation excellence and asset optimization, because he was applying to an operation consulting firm, right? And again, he also showed some of the professional spikes, like demonstrated a consistent track record of professional excellence while he received star of business out of 1,000 employees at his company based on a big 4 companies assessment, and rated as the excellent performer for the consecutive 3 years. So this itself, only these 3 lines can actually put him on spot and get shortlisted. So a very important aspect of resume shortlisting is think about these 3 points and think about how effectively and efficiently you can showcase in your resume. All other points are also important, like some of the keywords and those things, and put numbers and all those things which are important, which I'm going to talk about. But if you really have to cut down the noise of so many things I have to do, no, you need to focus on these three things and focus on maybe 1 point or 2 point each. That's it. And showcase as visibly as possible in your resume, no matter whatever format are you using. If you're able to showcase these two things as efficiently as possible, you're there. You're there. And then use a lot of keywords. Why keywords are important? Because a lot of time these guys search you through automated tracking, machines, right? So you should application trackers, right? Or maybe they're just doing control F and searching some keywords which are important for their industry. So for that matter, keywords are important. But these are the actual thing because of which you will convert your shortlisting. Start doing it, you'll get more shortlisting than possible. Now let me give me some examples also, some case studies also. So there was one person actually. So it's a very interesting story. And this is the story of this person did not get shortlisted. So there was this time that McKinsey came to a campus and they were hiring senior professionals, 4 to 5 years of at least some experience you should have in the domain. Okay. And there are 7 to 8 people in the automotive domain which applied to this role. Company took all 6 people, shortlisted all 6 people, but this person. Okay. So he came to me and said, can you see my resume and tell me why I did not get shortlisted? And see what happened is this although this person has total kind of alignment with the company requirement, this person did not get shortlisted because his resume was very generic. He did not quantify his results. He did not try to make it impactful. It was a very general resume, right? And then that's where you should understand that with this exercise or with this example is that whenever you're applying to a company, irrespective of whether it is consulting companies or not, just having keywords or those skills which this company requires doesn't satisfy, because you are competing with 100 other peoples. Let's say some of them have actually quantified their result, had really made an effort to make it as attractive, as impactful as possible. In that 100 people, you would not get shortlisted if you are not impactful in your resume. So be quantified, be impactful in your resume, right? So rather than writing that I purchased telecom equipment and reduce purchase cost as an example, you should write I reduce cost by this much through innovative contract packaging in the purchase of. Try to quantify your results, try to quantify your work, try to give a tangible aspect of your work, right? So that's how you should write. Just 1 second. Yeah, that's how you should write. Now let me give you a framework also on how you should write your any point for that matter to make it more impactful. And there are 3 colors in this point. One is red, one is blue, and one is green. What do you think? Put it in the chat. What do you think is this red color? Reduce cost by INR 300 crore. Can somebody put? Some of you, all of you maybe. What is this red color? Reduce cost by 300 crore. Can somebody put in the chat? What is this? Right? Decision making and problem solving skill. Reduce cost by 300 crore. Yeah. Yeah. Can somebody tell me what is this? Reduce cost by 300 crore. In that sentence, what does it showcase? Output. Awesome. So this showcase output, as Anika has said, right? Reducing, quantifying, and it is also quantified, right? That Aditya said, right? So this red color in this sentence showcase your output, that you have reduced cost and that cost was INR 300 crore. So your quantified output. Okay. Through, next, let's see this green color. In the purchase of INR 3,000 crore T telecom equipment at Ericsson. What is this green color? What is this green color? In the purchase of problem. Yes, you can say that. Correct. Project. Yes, correct. Anubhuti, Anika, Sheikh, input, result. Or basically, so it's a context, or it's a situation, or it's the project, or it's the problem you're working on. What you're working on, where you were working on, that kind of a thing. It's a situation or context, you can say, right? So we've seen two parts. One is red, which is result, and second is green, which is context or a situation. Through innovative contract packaging. What is this? Through innovative contract packaging. What is this? Anubhuti has said strategy. Yes. Strategy. What else? Bhavya said strategy. Right. It's it's a it's an action. What action you have taken, right? And one more important thing is, so if you see any point, you can think about at least whether you want to write all the parts of it or not. That is a different thing. But whenever you are thinking about any point to write in your resume, think about these three aspects: situation, action, and result. What was the result? What was the action you have taken? And what was the situation? SAR. If you're able to do that, and if you're able to do that, it's basically nothing but a star framework ka chota part. It's a smaller part of this thing. But whenever you're thinking about any writing, any point, at least think about these three aspects. Why, or what was the situation? What was the context? As specific as possible. What are the action I have taken? As specific as possible. And in action, showcase your skills. Like in this case, the skill was that I know contract packaging. I know contracts. It could be by managing people. I know how to manage people. It could be by doing root cause analysis. I'm showing my skills. It could be some other skills because of my good communication, by collaborating with people, right? So you are bringing your skills through actions, right? So whenever you're thinking about any point, think about situation, action, and result, right? And showcase it to others to get a feedback so that you can refine it, right? So that is the first, I would say, thing which you should work on. Make your resume as impactful as possible. Next, again, this was an even different case, and it's a very different story. So there was a one guy again, right? There was a one guy who applied to Accenture strategy. Okay, and this person has total fit to that organization. He has also written his resume in the quantified manner. Okay, but he still did not get shortlisted. Okay, and it's a very strange case. So he came to me and asked me why he did not get shortlisted. And I saw that everything was fine. Then I noticed something, that the company had come for a consultant role, right? Right. So the company had come for consultant role, and this person in his resume showcased himself as a manager, as a project manager. He started his resume writing like, I manage 5 projects of consulting, I manage a team of 10 people, I manage this and that. His total resume was actually given a positioning of a manager. Now, when these guys see that, Accenture see that, they had come for a junior role, right? And when they see that this person is actually overqualified for this role, they said, we can't take him. Even if we take him, we will be setting him for this thing. So sometimes, even if you have everything, but just because you have not seen the JD appropriately, you have not understood the JD appropriately, you are actually losing out on underfitment or overfitment of the role. So idea here is, whenever a JD is coming and you want to apply, or whenever you see a job description or a job, understand what kind of role it is, understand what kind of things it requires, and then structure your resume. Don't overfit or underfit. Okay, so that's the second thing, this thing, to position your heavy resume for the JD, for the job description, right? You should use your career summary and functional heading to showcase your fitment. So career summary, if your resume has career summary, I would first suggest have career summary in your resume, because your resume could be of 100 points or 10 points or 50 points or whatever it is. Have 2 or 3 or 4 relevant line in the top of your resume, which is relevant for the recruiter, or which is very impactful in your career, which you want to showcase. That is one thing. Career summary, yeah. You should use career summary. So you have a resume, on the top you put a career summary or career highlight. That's a good recommendation. That is one. Second is, if you have, let's say, 10 points in your resume to write down, let's say in your work experience or in any bucket, try to give some functional bucket. Let's say you have 10 points, give operations, consulting, or whatever buckets you want. You structure your points in buckets, in functional buckets, so that it is easily readable. I'll show you one example after this, so don't worry about that. But use career summary and functional heading to position your resume for the JD. There was one person who, so this is the story of one person who got shortlisted for a McKinsey role. Now, what he did actually, it was very interesting. What he did that he actually, during his studies in graduation or maybe post graduation, he actually worked with one of the project in which McKinsey was involved. So he was doing a live project, and the with a company, with a manufacturing company actually, and this manufacturing company had actually involved McKinsey for some work, and this person got involved in that role, in that consulting assignment. And when he was applying to a consulting role in McKinsey, what he did is he actually put out that project as top as possible in his resume. So much that he has put it one line in his summary that, I actually have worked with McKinsey for this project. This gave him so much relevance and so much relatability that he got a shortlisted. Right. So these are some of the things, right? Uh, and this live project could be anything. Let's say it could be a self-initiated project. So there was one person who did a self-initiated project on a financial modeling. He did it himself and he put it in his resume that I did a project in financial modeling. He got a shortlisted. In fact, I have actually worked with a live project in Apollo Hospital to showcase that I can work with clients and I can solve their problems. That really helped me to get shortlisted in different situations, right? It could be anything. You might be participating in different competition. So today is one competition, for example, right? This quiz. After this session, you can play a quiz also in Govin app, in our Govin app, right? So, and you're coming on top, right? Showcasing that. So create your points. It's if you think that you don't have enough points, or there are not much relevant point or much impactful right now, create impactful point. It's perfectly all right. People really love that. Consulting companies really love that, or any company for that matter really love that. So for getting shortlisted, create projects, do initiatives, and bring it out in your resume. And as I talked about in that first case study, right, that lady actually took an initiative and worked on an AI capability center, initiative, and she got shortlisted. Another another very, let's say you had a chance to interact with, let's say you are in your studies, and companies are coming to campus, then engage with them, engage with the recruiters. That is also a very important aspect. If, let's say, you say that I'm not studying in a college now, I'm a working professional, how do I do engage with people? See, there are people who are engaging with these guys on LinkedIn, right? And not a random engagement, like you're just throwing out a lot of connection requests and that kind of thing. What exactly they are doing is they are creating a list of, so what I suggest people and what people do, whom I guide, is create a list of 10 or 15, let's say 5 companies which you want to get into. Multiply it with 3 people each, good people like working in a consulting firm, and create a list of 15 to 20 or 30, 40 people. Now write a customized, personalized message to all these 15 or 30 people that I've seen your profile, I've seen that these kind of posts you're talking about, or these kind of problem you're solving, or whatever it is. Write them, and I want to connect with you to learn from you, right? Maybe 10 people will give you that, yes, I want to connect, and then engage with them. And then that engagement will really help you later on when you apply for a specific opportunity. Maybe these guys can help you in reference also, right? So do that engagement as early as possible, even without waiting for even, let's say you want to get into consulting role, take a timeline of 3 to 6 months to do all these things. And after 6 months, you'll get so then you're not leaving anything for the luck. That's what I'm trying to say. Cool. So these are some of the examples. How do you showcase your leadership skills or entrepreneurial skills in your resume? As I said, take a lot of initiatives and showcase that. If you have taken a lot of initiative in your previous roles. It could be your college projects, it could be your position of responsibility, it could be your work experience initiatives. Just bring out that. You talk about if you've selected for or handpicked for some project or some initiatives, if you've worked single-handedly or something, if you've worked in any innovative idea, or if you've done a project which is, let's say, first in that company, right? That kind of thing. That's how you can showcase your leadership and entrepreneurial drive in your resume. These are the words or these are the ideas which you guys should be using. Let me again take a break here and let me ask you guys, any questions here, any doubt here, anything you want to ask. I'm taking 5 minutes break for that. Then I'll go to interviews as well. But till here, any doubt, if you want to ask, just put it in the chat and let me kind of let me try to answer that. If there are no doubt, please say yes and I'll go. No doubt, just put no doubt in the chat and I'll move forward. Yeah, Dev. So Divya said that can we summarize all discussed till now in brief? Okay. And then Anubhuti has said, kindly brief me about career summary. Okay. So just to answer Divya's Anand question, just to summarize what we have discussed today, I'll just quickly kind of take you through very quickly. Right? Only I'll take only 1 minute. So we have talked about our profiles. Then I talked about GoCrackIt. Right? Then I talked about consulting means expertise, providing advice and implementation. Then I talked about what is a management consultant, which is an overarching term. And then I talked about what is a strategic consulting, which is a part of management consulting, which provides strategy consulting. Then I talked about career landscape. In consulting, there are strategy consulting firms, there are operation consulting, technology consulting, and other function related consulting firms. And then kind of showcase that landscape. Then I talked about that consulting companies are structured, one, based on industries, right? And second, based on horizontals. So digital can be done in any industry. Growth can be done in any industry. HR can be done in any industry. Then I talked about role evolution from analyst, senior analyst, consultant, senior consultant, principal consultant, associate director, director to partner. And then we saw some examples. Then we talked about what is required in your resume to get shortlisted, which is spikes. It could be professional, personal, or academic spike. How do you showcase your leadership and teamwork and your entrepreneurial drive? And then we talk about various examples, like how do you write, and we talked about a very specific framework, which is situation, action, result. You should think all your points in this manner. And we talked about a case where you should use, how do you position your resume for the JD, right? You need to understand what is there in JD, what is the requirement of that JD, and you need to give that JD, that your resume, which is kind of totally aligned to this JD. Obviously, honestly, you don't have to lie on that. Okay, that's very important. And for that, you can use career summary and functional headings, as I said. I'll show you one example actually. Just give me 1 minute. And then we talked about some other roles. We talked about how you can create points or create spikes through self-initiated project or live project or some competition or any other thing for that matter to get shortlisted. And then we talked about engagement with the type of people which you want to work with. Okay. And then we talked about how can you showcase some leadership and entrepreneurial drive in your resume through initiatives, either writing if you're selected for or handpicked for us, all those things. Oh, and the second question is which Anubhuti has written, right? What is a career summary? Okay, career summary. So let me show you an example first. Just let me open one document. Just give me 1 second. I'm just opening a document. So career summary is nothing but, or a career highlight. It could be also called as career highlight. Basically, it is nothing but let's say you have your resume in 50, you have in your resume, let's say you have 50 lines or 60 points. You are summarizing that in the top of your resume, right? Which is kind of defining you, which is giving a crisp information to the recruiter. So let's say this is the, can you see my screen? Yeah, I think it should be. Right? You're able to see my screen now, right? So this is the career summary, right? career summary should not be long, not more than 3 to 4 bullets or points. It could be a paragraph also. Bullet is just a one way. You can also write in paragraphs. That's not a problem. The idea of summary is to give sufficient and impactful information, particularly to those recruiters who may not spend much time in your entire part of resume. Okay, and you can have 3 to 4 rounds in points or ideas in which one you should show your functional skills, you should show some of your industry, and you should show your skills, and you should show some of your achievements here. So this is the structure of career summary. The idea is whatever you think recruiters should see in your resume, whatever you think which is really important in resume, summarize it in the top so that you have a more probability that recruiter is looking at your resume. Okay. I think it should be okay now. Anubhuti, is it clear now? Yes, no? Career summary. So what could be the career summary in case of fresher? In case of fresher, you should write about all the maybe initiative which you have taken in your college, all the PORs which you are part of, any important project which you have done in your resume, or what kind of skills you have, right? What kind of skills you gained in your studies. Those kind of things you should put in the career summary. So like this, right? I have an experience of team management, this and this, problem solving skills. So whatever skills you have, you can put it in your career summary. Okay, good. Next question is career summary. I blamed career summary. I think this I answered. So objective is different, Anubhuti. Generally, I don't advise to write objective, career objective, because career objectives is not factual, right? And and generally what happens, people are using same objective for everything, for every company, which becomes a very generic one. And second, if you're using or they are actually customizing it to the requirement of the company, which is also not good because it looks very fake. So objective is not factual actually, right? You understand my point. Hence, generally I advise don't write objective but summary or highlight of your career, which is important for the recruiter. What type of technical skills firm expects from their candidates? So Ashok, in terms of technical skills, definitely Excel, PowerPoint, those kind of things. If you're let's say applying to a technology company, then at least some understanding of technology, maybe R, Python, depending upon the role, definitely. Those kind of skills are also important. Right, so these are the technical skills which are really important from the perspective of consulting firm. Right? Can you tell the resources to prepare for skills to become consultant? So yeah, Aditya. So there are a lot of resources to prepare for the skills. I will actually let me. So there's something called case in point, which you can read, or there are something called Vault guides. Just search Vault guide case. Solving this thing, you will get this thing. You will get a PDF version of this. Okay, so and there's a book called Case in Point Vault Guide, which you can use, or Case in Point, which you can search buy, right? And that will help you to prepare for consulting. There's also a book called The McKinsey Way. It's kind of a very important book, which I would suggest. Again, it is available freely on PDF, and it's a very thin book, and you don't have to read the entire book also. Just read first part of it. It's really good to prepare for consulting those, the McKinsey Way. And then the other resources are go to website of all these consultants and read what kind of projects they are doing, what kind of thinking they have. You get so much information that you'll not get anywhere else. And these consulting company website are free resources for all those things. Cool. So Aditya, Ashok, did I answer your question? Just say yes if yes. If you have any follow-up, please ask. Abhitej, can you please suggest any project available right now, or how to find some? I think it depends upon where are you. If you're studying or you're in college, one is internal. If you have any club in your college which a scout for those projects, if yes, that one. Or try to find out some friends or some people who are working in some startup or something, take projects from them. That could be second area. Third, internshala. You can also start using internshala or LinkedIn to find some of the opportunities, some of the posts for internship, right? And you'll start getting projects. It could be a self-initiated project also, mind you. You need not have a project from a company. You can initiate a project out of your interest, which you think is very important for your profile or for your interest, and showcase that, right? How people can select which field is preferable for him. So this would require maybe a one-on-one discussion, a career. Talk to some mentors or talk to some people so that they can understand your interest and your profile, and then maybe can suggest you. Basically, talk to people to understand from them what they think. Talk to your professors or your mentors or whosoever you think can help you. Right? Cool. Kindly name the website again. Which website? Internshala, right? Trishla. Internshala. Sir, can you write a website name in the chat box, please? You're talking about this internship wali website, right? For projects, right? Tashmir and Trishna. Yeah, cool. So I've written it down, but if you have any doubt, just put a follow-up on that. So let's move forward now. Now let's move forward to the next level, last level. So now, so which one you're talking about, Trishna? Just put me and I'll tell you. What a reason. Okay, so I've put it here. Actually, I've already, yeah. Yeah, this Vault Guide, case in point. Case in point you might have to buy. Otherwise, Vault Guide and McKinsey Way is is freely available in PDF. Cool. Okay, cool. So now let's talk about interviews. How do you crack interviews? Okay. So let me ask you first this. What are these skills? What are these skills which consulting companies evaluate during interviews? Can some people put in the chat? What are the skills which consulting companies evaluate? So Anubhuti has said thought process, presence of mind, Priyanshi has said communication skills, very good. Ashok has said. Abhijit said problem solving. Abhishek said problem solving, very good. Very good. Awesome, guys. Calculations, yeah. Analytical skills, yeah, definitely. Number crunching, yeah. So, yeah. So let me kind of problem solving ability. So let me knowledge, yeah. So let me put it in a more structured manner now. Whatever you said, let me just put it in the more structured manner. What skills they look for, and this is from the website of McKinsey. So they have put out 5, I would say, skills. Till now, it was only 4 actually. They added these skills currently. Currently, when I say currently, in last 3-4 months. Okay. Personal impact, entrepreneurial drive, inclusive leadership, problem solving, and courageous change. So what are these skills? So personal impact is basically consulting is more about communicating with people. Consulting is more about convincing people to change. Personal impact means how do you communicate with different stakeholders to drive improvement, to drive change, to drive transformation. Basically, your stakeholder management, stakeholder encouragement, stakeholder influencing skills. The question could be asked is, tell me a time when you had to resolve a conflict amongst the stakeholders to assess this skill. So that is called personal impact. Entrepreneurial drive. Again, so while not just in resume, but here also it is very important. So entrepreneurial drive, how do they look? Is basically they want to look how innovatively or how out of the box thinking. How did you use your out of the box thinking, or how you've taken some really different initiative to drive change or drive impact. That's your entrepreneurial skill, your innovativeness, your initiative taking. Inclusive leadership, very important. You should be, or you will be working with different as diverse set of people. How are you creating a solution which is not maybe foregoing some stakeholders, or you have to work with a lot of people. So how do you take care or maximize their interest? Problem solving, as I said, very important. As all of you said, probably sort of how do you solve a problem? How do you structure a problem? How do you ask data and analyze that data? That kind of skill. And courageous change. Basically, this is the skill which they have added just now in last 1 or 2 months, and that is very important. How you drive change, how you yourself change, Tell me a time when you have worked in a change. Tell me a time when you change the behavior of yourself or of people, right? So those kind of skills they are looking at in through their interviews. These are the 5 skills they are looking at. While first, second, third, and fifth skill will be generally evaluated by asking some behavioral question. As I said, right, for personal impact, I said, tell me a time how did you deal with conflicting stakeholders. In entrepreneurial drive, they can ask you, tell me a time when you thought out of the box and solve a problem. Inclusive leadership, they can talk about, tell me a time when you had to lead diverse set of people. In courageous change, they can ask you, tell me a time when you dealt with a change, or you changed yourself, or you worked in a change management process, something like that, right? These are the skills which are asked through the behavior, which are evaluated through the behavioral questions. While problem solving skills are generally asked or in the interview through case studies. You have to solve case studies, right? So basically, there are different rounds of interviews, and there's another thing which is an informal. It's not that they are going to maybe ask this, but they, and in an informal way, they do something called airport test. What do you think is an airport test? What is an airport test? What could be an airport test? Right? So basically, the airport test is something like that. It's an informal thing. It's not that they will write it in their website or they say, "I am doing an airport test." But it's very important. This thing, no. So not Swapnil, not a trial test. It's basically if you leave this consultant. Let's say I'm interviewing you. Okay. At some in during the conversation, I am also evaluating if I have to be with this person in an airport for an hour or for a couple of hours, whether I will be engaging with him, whether this person will be present, because it's a people game. Consulting is a people game. You have to be engaging, you have to be pleasant, you have to drive a conversation, right? So not crowded place. It's basically airport test is basically if I am stuck with this guy in an airport for let's say 4 5 hours, how will I interact with him? Will I like him or not? How other consultant will go along with him, right? That kind of a test they take. And it's an informal test. It's not that they're saying, okay, I'm doing an airport test, but this is somewhere in their back of the mind, they're testing it, right? So your communication skill, how do you engage in a communication? How do you drive your thought? Those kind of things is they are also evaluating, right? So these are the 5 skills, and this is kind of an informal thing which they are evaluating. And then what is their hiring process? There is a resume shortlisting. Then this is an optional thing. It may happen, it may not happen. An online assessment, and now an online assessment could also vary company to company, and maybe even in a company, practice to practice or a location to location, it can vary. But generally, this online assessment could be a kind of some kind of a test where they're asking mathematical questions and all that, or logical reasoning questions and all those, or they're asking some psychometric, they're taking some psychometric test to understand your personality. But this is generally optional. Then case interview, you might have 1 or 2 round of case interview where they will give you a case study and you need to solve that case study then and there along with the recruiter, and there could be a couple of rounds of case interviews. And then there are behavioral interviews and partner round. Now, behavioral interview could be a separate one, or these interviews can happen in one of the earlier case interviews also, some questions, or it could also happen in partner round. Partner round is basically final round. Either a partner or a director or someone higher up is taking your interview just to understand whether you're fitting for this role or not, whether you're fit for this role or not. They generally, again, see, softer aspect of your profile. They might ask some behavioral question or just chit chat with you and understand whether you'll be fitting in this culture or not. So this is the general hiring process. These are some, let's say, for example, this is the hiring process of McKinsey as per their website. So they have they have a gamified assessment first, but again, this doesn't happen everywhere. It is just that they have introduced. They might do a gamified assessment with you. This is there in their website. You can check. And then they do, kind of a case study. And sometimes if it is a technology related thing, they might do a coding skill test also. Okay. BCG, skill interview, problem solving interview. Problem solving interview is basically a case study. Skill interview is again, as I said, you're based on your CV, behavioral questions, and all those things they can ask. And Bain, for example, case interview and experience interview. Experience interview is nothing but your resume or a behavioral or a softer aspect interview. And sometimes they can do a written case where they will give a case and you can write it. So this case interview is kind of face-to-face case interview where they are giving the information or the case then and there, and you're solving it. And sometimes they are giving the case earlier. You have to solve it and you need to submit the maybe the write-up or whatever. And then your interview, the face-to-face interview, will revolve about what you have written or what you have presented, whatever you submitted. There are different types of process. Basically, again, it boils down to this, basically, right? So how do you prepare for case and how do you prepare for your behavioral or questions? Okay. So for practicing case study, what you need to understand is, first of all, what is a case study? Okay. So case study is used to evaluate. So what is a case, first of all? So case study is generally the interviewer will give you a problem, a business problem. This problem could be inspired from what business problem they have been solving or they had solved. And they can give you, for example, a retail company is losing profitability. What should I do? They are very open-ended questions to start with. Okay. They are generally used to evaluate your structured problem solving. Your structure is important, problem solving skills. How do you deal? They are used to evaluate how do you deal with uncertainty, right? How do you communicate in that uncertainty? So communication skills and how do you communicate under uncertainty? These are the three things which they would be, evaluating in a case interview. Generally, case interview could be reducing market size, that a company's market size is reducing. What should we do? Market entry strategy, for example, a company wants to enter African market. What should you do? Product strategy, for example, a company wants to create an online channel for e-commerce channel for its product. What should they do? It could be anything, right? So these are some of the examples of the case study. What case study I was asked? So one case I was asked was that HP is losing its ink business to fake ink players. What should I do? That was one case which I was asked. Another case which I was asked is how will you manage working capital of a consulting firm, right? So these are the two cases which I was asked during my interviews. Okay, this is an example. Some pointers you need to remember is that very important thing that whenever they ask a case study, this case study could be of any industry or any function. So you don't get thrown away by the fact, okay, I am from automobile or I am from mechanical engineering, but I don't know anything about retail. It doesn't be that way. It doesn't. You will not get a case study. Mostly, you will not get a case study which is from your domain areas. It could be. So don't get off guarded because of this. Because the case study, the idea of case study is to evaluate your problem solving skills, not your domain expertise. Okay. You are not expected to know the specific of domain. For example, I'll give you an example. One of my junior, he was doing a AT Kearney interview. Okay. And this person went to interview, and this person had some experience in power sector. He was working with some power company. Now, when AT Kearney interview happened, the interviewer asked him a case study like this: that a telecom company is using its profitability. What should we do? Now, this person was totally off guarded. He could not actually comprehend, or he could not actually structure his thought because he was already off guarded. Because okay, oh my God, this is a telecom company case. I don't know anything about telecom industry. What should I do? He got off guard. Okay, and then whatever happened, and the feedback from this interview, so he asked the interviewer once everything was over, and this thing, he asked the interviewer asked him, what was your problem in this case? So this person said, you know what, I am not from telecom industry, so I could not solve it better. Then this person said, you're not supposed to know about telecom industry. You're expected to ask question. You could have simply said, I don't know anything about telecom industry. Can you tell me something about it? Even that is acceptable, right? But you should not throw hopes that, I don't know about this function or this industry. I should not do this. How do you solve a problem? How do you solve a case involves these 5 steps, and these 5 steps is also given in today's this quiz. So we are playing a quiz, right? So after this workshop, you can go to either our Android app, let me just copy this, or this website, and there is a crack your consulting job. This thing is there. A case study is there, which you can solve. So with the help of these 5 steps, and get more learning from it. But basically, what it requires to solve any case study, you have to have these 5 phases in your case studies. These 5 phases are: one, whenever they have given you a problem. Let's say a retail company is losing its profitability. Let's say that's the problem statement. Your first thing is not to jump to the solution, but to think and ask some clarifying question. Have you ensured that you have understood the problem clearly? Most people will fall here only. Make sure that you have understood the problem correctly. Paraphrase the problem to the recruiter to make sure that you have listened to the problem correctly. If you have some clarifying question, what is this retail company, where it is situated, what do you mean by profitability, whatever you want to ask, just clarify that. That is first step. Second step is set the objective. Once you understand, okay, this is a retail company, it is in India, it is losing its profitability. Profitability means this. You say, okay, let me set the objective. You want me to find out why its profitability is going down, and and hence what are the recommendation. If this is the objective you want me to solve this case for, is it correct? Check that understanding. Set the objective from the recruiter. Once he says yes, third step is structure. Once you understood the problem, clarified the problem, you set the objective. Don't jump to the solution, but say, put a framework, put a structure on how this is how I will solve this problem. The structure could be that to solve this problem, I will analyze revenue and its 4 components. I will analyze its value chain and its 4 components, and I'll see where is the problem. That could be an approach. It could be an approach that I would like to analyze your sales process in detail, and I will start with X, Y, and Z, and whatever, like X1, Z. Put a framework, put a structure. This is how I'm going to solve this problem. You're not solving the problem. You're just giving a roadmap. These are the factors, or these are the steps I will take to solve this problem. So structure your approach. Once you structure your approach and you ask, I've taken a confirmation from the recruiter, okay, we can go ahead with this structure. So always take a confirmation from the recruiter, okay, yes, you can go ahead with this. You ask data or facts as aligned to your structure, right? You ask data and facts, and analyze that data and facts to do some number crunching, to analyze the facts, to understand what is the problem, to point out what is the problem. And based on that number crunching and that analysis, you will recommend. So always try to be taken a structured approach. To practice this, just go to after this session, you can go directly to this quiz, and you can play it. You will understand more about this. So just play that quiz. You will understand what I'm talking about with the help of an example. Cool. Some of the key points, very importantly, listen carefully, clarify, paraphrase your understanding. That is very important. Don't jump to solve the problem. Instead, show your approach first. Then ask data and analyze it. Don't directly jump to this place or this place. Don't do that. Lot of times, or almost most of the times, you will be stuck in your interviews, in your case, because you don't know what you don't know, right? Interviewer will help you to give you some hints. Take those hints. Listen to those hints carefully. Think about those hints. Think aloud about those hints, and then you may come up with something which you had not thought about. So basically, interviewer will guide you towards that. And last but not the least, it is okay to get stuck. The last thing you want to do is give up. Don't give up. No consultant want a person who give up the case. Don't give up. Do whatever it is, because everything is normal. Whatever you are doing is a part of case solving process. Everyone goes through that. Think about this. Don't just give up. Once you give up, then you are losing actually. Otherwise, till that time, no matter however you are doing in the case, if you're not giving up, you're there. You are in the race. Okay. But yeah, so do this thing. So this is how you should this thing. It somebody asked me about guesstimate also. So actually, guesstimate is something which is even case studies comes with the practice. Guesstimate also comes with the practice. So do take some of your friend, form a one or two group and do practice of case studies and guesstimates together. Until you practice with someone, you will not be able to crack. You cannot master case study solving through learning through a book. You can't do that. Okay, you have to practice with someone. Okay. Now, last point, how do you answer your behavioral questions? So as I said, that there are 4-5 skills which would require personal impact, entrepreneurial drive, inclusive leadership, courageous change. All these things would require you to tell you. So these things will be evaluated using behavioral questions. Questions could be tell me a time. For example, you have managed conflict. Okay. So basically, the idea here is that you have to prepare your stories. You might have 3 to 4 stories. It doesn't matter whether it is a story of your personal life, your academic life, or your professional life, or anything else. But create your stories in this 4 setup, in these 4 parts. What was the situation? What was the task or responsibility or assignment given to you or objective of the project? What are the actions you have taken? You, not we. What actions you have taken as a part of we is okay. What actions you have taken and hence what was the result? You have to write down your 3 to 4 or 5 stories in these 4 factors. And any question you ask, you have to rely on those stories. So let me give you a quick example of situation, task, action, result by showcasing you one story. Situation. In my last job, we needed to develop a very complex and so again, the story could be academic, personal, and professional. It could be anything. I am giving an example of professional story, but it could be anything. It could be how did you resolve a conflict in your academic project. It could be anything else also. Okay. Situation. In my last job, so this is an example of a story. In my last job, we needed to develop a very complex and urgent logistics development for a client which was launching its operation in UK. The project was very critical, as if we do not do this, not only our client will lose a lot of money, but we could also may lose our deal. In this situation, I had to work alone as my coworker had a family emergency and I needed to miss work for some days. You have to tell one, what was the situation? There was a development and this company was launching its operation. If you see closely, the second point brings out the problem or the complexity of this problem or the outcome. If things, disastrous outcome, if the things do not go well, what could happen? What loss, what disaster could happen? That has clearly brought it out. So in your situations, whenever you're telling your situation, it's a storytelling technique. You should bring out pain points, pump the pain points. What was the pain point in this situation? Because once you put the pain points in your story, it becomes more interesting. You see so many movies and serials, you see everything has a conflict, this thing has a pain, has a challenge. Put those conflict and challenge in your story. Okay. So yeah. Task. My supervisor, so task is basically what you are supposed to do or what was the objective of this project. So task. My supervisor instructed me to take on this project alone and with no leniency on the deadline. I had few days to complete the project that originally should have done with 2 resources. Okay, that's the task given to you. Actions. What actions I have taken? Among other things, I did 3 key things. I negotiated with my boss for a reduction in my weekly goal. I delegated my other weekly goals to some of my teammates and I broke down the problem into smaller modules and prioritized. Now, there are some dark, bolded things: negotiated, delegated, breakdown, and prioritized. What are these? Can somebody put it in the chat? What are these things? Why I have bolded it, highlighted it? Core actions. So basically, these are the skills which I definitely want. I negotiated with my boss. I delegated my work. I prioritize this thing. You're getting my point, right? I'm trying to showcase my skills in this story very clearly. Okay, because you use your skills to do things effectively and efficiently. Okay, and then the result is, with the reduction in my daily goals, I was able to dedicate more time to the special project. This allowed me to finish it 5 days before time. I am giving a very tangible, a very, a very quantitative result, very important. It should not be a generic one, then after that everything went fine. No, it should be as tangible as possible. The result should be as tangible as possible. This allowed me to finish it 5 days before time, enable my client to start the operation as planned and with complete accuracy. My supervisor appreciated my attitude and drive, and I was given several more projects after that. These are some qualitative benefit or the results which I got from this thing, right? So this is how you should prepare your stories. Most importantly, it's not just a structure, it's about how you tell it. Bring that emotion. If we are not doing this, our company could have lost billions of dollars. That kind of emotion should come out. Your body language, your emotion, that energy should come out when you're speaking, when you're telling these stories, right? Cool. So this is how you should structure your behavioral answer. Once you're able to do in your partner round, you'll be able to, this thing. So in summary, we talked about career landscape. We talked about role progression. We talked about resume. And we talked about interview. We did not talk about exit option, but basically there are different exit options. Like you can, after consulting, you can get into corporate roles, you can get into PVC, you can actually start your own startup. These are the action options. But this is what we discussed today. Okay, and in resume and interview, we discussed some specifics. Now, to practice this case study structure, we are having a case study where you can play either in Android app or in website. You can go there and you can play. I've already put the chat, this thing. You can go there and you can play and you can practice some cases, one case actually, in this to understand that structure. Okay. And yeah, I mean, you can, if you want, you can go directly from here also, right? So basically, last thing, just to tell you what we do very specifically, we do mentoring. We do one-to-one mentoring. So this one-to-many session is to give you some more context and some more structure. But generally, we do mentoring, where we do one-to-one mentoring. So whenever you come to GoCrackIt, you will talk to a mentor. Either you will do CC, which is career conversation. You will talk to a mentor who will guide you on your career, what should be doing, what is your fit and all that. You will do resume review. You could do resume reviews, which is basically your resume will be reviewed by the mentor, or you can do a mock interview, or you can do all three things. Okay. And generally the rates are this, which is around 13,000. But today we are giving actually on because you have joined this workshop, we are giving it this 13,000 in 9,000. You can take a package of 10,000, 9999 specifically, and you can take one session where you will be talking to a mentor for 1 hour, 1 hour, and 1 hour to get your things. This thing. If somebody has an interest, please write to us in the WhatsApp group or in some or write to us at GoCrackIt at GoCrackIt at gmail.com. Support at GoCrackIt.com, and we will get back to you. But yeah, so this is what I wanted to share with you guys, and let me see some questions. So let's spend a couple of minutes in your questions also. So there are some questions. First question is Swapnil. I just had a Tech Mahindra aptitude test in which they had psychometric test, aptitude and assumption kind of question. Very good. Thank you, Swapnil, to giving this information to others. So Swapnil had just appeared in a Mahindra aptitude test in which they had taken psychometric test to understand your thinking process, your personality, and aptitude test, basically where they are checking your quantitative and other ability. Then Kunal has asked a question. Lateral hirings aren't even considered to solve a problem or perform a case study from a different domain. Please enlighten how can we jailbreak this stereotypical shortlisting? Consultants are not necessarily supported to be SMEs. So Kunal, that's a good question. It depends, right? Which kind of, generally what happens, let's say you have a substantial experience or some experience. Generally, consulting companies, there are consulting companies like Big Fours or Accentures. These actually look for domain consulting, domain experience a lot, as compared to maybe McKinsey, BCG, or Bain, which looks more of a general skills, general problem solving skills. While they do also hire industry experts or domain experts, but general trend is this, right? So when you are going for a domain consulting, for a consulting firm which is looking at your domain, right? Definitely there will be a problem statement, there will be a problem. And as I said, that problem is generally from their own experiences. And because those experiences happen to be from their own domain, they might ask you a domain related case study. But believe me, more than domain expertise in that case study, they are also evaluating, or they're actually more, they're actually evaluating your problem solving skills more than your subject matter expertise. Okay. Consultants are not necessarily supposed to be SMEs. Consultants are supposed to know, are generalists. They have to solve a lot of problems generally, but at some point of time, when you have experience, you become a domain expert of that particular field or that particular technology or something. And then you get more value from this. Okay, the domain expertise is still a very, very important thing which you can leverage to grow in the organization. Anubhuti has asked, what is guesstimate? The guesstimate is basically some random question, like say, how many cars are there in Mumbai, or how many golf balls are there in Singapore, or how many trucks are there in this thing. So there is just read about it, just Google it, you'll find a lot of examples. But that's also a lot of times it is being asked. Swapnil has asked, you have to guess the solution. Yeah, Swapnil has given that. Thank you, Swapnil. Yeah, and are freshers allowed in consulting? I have experience in different domain. Freshers, no. Freshers allowed? No, I mean, freshers are actually very important aspect of lot of consulting firm, because freshers are moldable, they are trainable, they are more trainable, they have lot of things to bring to the table. So definitely freshers are a very good candidate for consulting companies. Yes. Awesome. Uh, any other follow-up question, any other question which has been left unresolved, please let me know. I'm happy to solve your queries. You guys can also join that chat. Apriti, you can put that chat where we are also engaging more with the students and professional to solve their doubts. So there are mentors in that chat who can help you in solving their individual queries as well. And definitely play these quizzes so that you get more practice for solving problems. Cool. Awesome. So if somebody wants to take any consult, any mentoring services, please write to us at support@GoCrackIt.com. Right. So Swapnil, with consulting firm I can apply as a fresher. As I said, it totally depends upon lot of things, and for that we have to see your maybe profile and understand your profile. That require more personalized help, would require more attention. So I may not be able to do in this thing, but yeah. Can you put your LinkedIn profile link? Yeah, I can put my LinkedIn profile link. So you can follow me also, because I'm writing a lot of stuff, a lot of important stuff. Whatever I'm gaining from you guys, I'm sharing my, experiences with in this in LinkedIn. So you guys can follow me, connect with me, and join that group, that chat. I think okay, that link let me share with you, or can somebody share that chat link in that which we have? So join that chat where we are solving one. No, not this one. This is the app link. Hai. The link for WhatsApp, where you can join as a for the WhatsApp community link. Okay, I have this. Let me share with you. Okay, guys. So this is these are the things which I wanted to share with you. If you have any doubt, please join this chat, this WhatsApp group where we can solve your individual queries also, as much as it allows us. And yeah, and I mean, if you have any doubt, anything, just reach out to us. If you want to take mentoring services, to let us know so that we can do, and definitely play those quizzes, or that quiz which can give you a lot of practice. So thank you so much. If there are no questions, we can discontinue this call. And I would share with you this recording in a couple of days. We will be sharing with, because it takes some time to process and all that. So we'll be sharing by Tuesday. You will get this recording by Tuesday in your emails. Cool. So thank you so much for coming in a Saturday. Yeah, even PPT, both. You'll get it on Tuesday. Thank you so much for everyone. I hope I could help you utilize your Saturday more productively. And let's be in touch. And thank you so much for joining in. Hi Vikram. Hi, how are you?
Hi Alok, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for coming in. It's really glad to connect with you again.
Yeah, it is, glad to connect once more and, happy to see such young folks benefiting from your insights as I did when I was at IIM Bangalore last year.
Thank you so much for that, for your kind words. And I think let's be in touch, everyone, guys. Let's help each other. I think this community can help each other more than just what I can share only my experience, but your perspective, your innovation, your creativity, your examples is something which I use. Whatever stories I'm using is of my students, right? Or people who have taken services from us. So let's inspire each other. Let's be in touch. And we'll be doing a lot of these sessions. So let's be in touch. Okay. Thank you so much. And thanks, Vikram, for joining in. Let's be in touch. Just let's connect sometime.
Sure, Alok. Yeah.
Thank you
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Group link not opening. Why not opening? Let me try again. Actually, WhatsApp group. Try again. If it is not, just write to us. I will share with you. Or just maybe you can maybe 1 second.